The potential of a cemetery running out of space is very real. There isn't the potential of just knocking down a wall and extending it another few square kilometers. That doesn't happen in our cities today. People from that community who would want to visit their loved ones in that cemetery because that's where they live may not get that opportunity. The bodies may end up being buried somewhere else. There will be an increase in the number of unidentified bodies and unclaimed bodies. So we won't have families collecting those remains. And so that there's a tremendous burden on the state now to ensure that all of these bodies are buried in a professional, dignified and respectful manner. So that the unidentified can actually be exhumed when there's further information to support their identification, and the unclaimed can ultimately be returned to families, especially if the search requires trench burials, where it's a single burial but with respectful burying of bodies parallel to one another with some spacing, etc. There are still important measures that allow for the traceability of those individuals. Right now the borders are closed and there are commercial airlines that would not accept transporting bodies because they cannot obtain a certificate that ensures that there are no infectious diseases. So it means more bodies would potentially have to be buried until such time that these bodies could be repatriated safely. So all of these additional challenges create the burden on the cemetery to ensure that there's proper mapping, proper tracking, proper marking, so that no one gets lost in the process and families always have the right to mourn and visit the grave at a later stage. And the whole point of burial is a ritual. It's a cultural, traditional, or religious practice. It's something that is very much ingrained in our society and in our psyche, that it's part of our life. Death is part of life. And so it's important that we don't see cemetery management purely as a disposal venue, a repository for bodies. This is a place for people who will love. This is a place for people to go and visit. It has to be completely with the community in mind.